Hello, welcome back to another little video for Final Fantasy XIV news coming into 6.2 onwards. Mostly information for Island Sanctuary here and other bits of information that I had missed out. Thank you so much to M. Killerby for putting this little post together, summarizing this information on Reddit. It kind of got sort of filtered out as people were excited about all of the stuff in 6.2, so obviously 2 days ago we were very excited and we kind of missed these things. So basically these are the few tidbits that have been translated from the patch note reading that Yoshi P and Foxclon sat down and read through. A few extra bits. First of all, apparently there are plans for airship and submarine voyages to be expanded to personal housing. This is something that's quite exciting to a lot of people, I would imagine, considering the big draw behind a free company in the first place is the extra functionality of having an FC house, right? The workshops of airships and submarines. So they are actually planning to make it so that personal houses have access to those as well, which is a very interesting decision. I'm sure many people will have opinions about that, and you know, leave those in the comment section. We might do a video talking about that in the future. But overall, I guess more accessibility is a good thing. The number of Hrothgar hairstyles with ears showing will increase gradually here on out. So after the you know, the recent hairstyles were added, before when you had the situation where they turned off the ears, a lot of people didn't like that, let's put it mildly, and it was a little bit silly, quite honestly. So they are planning to make it so that any hairstyles they, you know, implement will have ears attached, because obviously it's one of the defining features of a Hrothgar is having the character's actual ears. That's, yeah, I mean, that should go without saying. So that's what they're hoping to do. Adventurer portraits will be used in dungeons and other content from 6.3 onwards. It's the other content bit that we didn't know about. So originally they said 6.3 would be when, you know, you would queue into a dungeon and then, oh look, we're suddenly seeing all the other members' portraits. I think that's going to be the missing link, honestly. But it says other content, so does that mean raids, alliance raids, stuff like that? It would be really cool to see them used in other areas. I quite like the adventurer portrait system, and yeah, I think it's a nice little extra and a little distraction. It's a nice formality, and you can see some rather hilarious plates people have come up with. It says here, right now you can only have one of each minion on the island, but in the future it may become possible to have multiple. That's a really, really cool thing, because at the minute you can have 40 minions and you can put them all around your island as you unlock places via the minion placement system on Island Sanctuary. But yeah, one minion of each is sad. But imagine you could have, since there's a cap of 40, whenever this update happens, you could have 40 Thancred shouting, "This is Thancred" at the same time. How amazing that would be. Or 40 Namazu, which is probably what I would probably do with my island hub. Just fill it full of Namazu, because obviously mine is Whisker Isle. And I'm a massive fan of Namazu, let's be honest. So that's really cool. There are plans to show buffs and debuff timers on the party list UI, though this would require some major changes to the way the UI is made, so it will take some work. So this might fit in with the 7.0 overhaul, you know, with a graphical update. If they're going in a direction of overhauling a lot of the main elements of the game itself, I think the UI is paramount in that decision-making process. It would make sense to have that done at the same time, probably. I would imagine it will take a very long time, probably an expansion in length, but that would be a really nice feature. I think a lot of people would like to see more buff and debuff tracking and dot tracking, so that would be nice if it was baked into a much cleaner, more reflective UI than it currently is in current version. The devs plan to implement other convenient features like the buff timers, as long as this doesn't break the game balance. So I'm not sure how that would break the game balance, but it would certainly improve the quality of life for a lot of people who do raiding. It's one of the things, you know, it's the least that they could really do. It's really quite annoying when you can't track things properly, and it's one of the things that I miss from World of Warcraft, having the ability to add on buff timers and things. I used to play a warlock in that game, and and various other casters, and it was always nice to know when the dots were rolling and when I needed to reapply them without, you know, in this game there's less of that, but there is still some of that. So I think along with the new adjustment that came in 6.2 where they made the font bigger for timers, I think this is just the natural evolution of that. More quality of life to make people's lives easier, but at the same time, it's not going to break the game balance. It's just going to give people an option to better optimize with in-game features. And I think that's a really positive step in the right direction, personally. Let me know what you think as well. I'm sure people will disagree. And finally, the developers understand the issue with frontlines, but will need a bit longer to implement changes. So I'm not really sure what the issue is with frontlines personally. I mean, I enjoy doing them, but maybe somebody else knows. But it looks like they're going to be looking at frontline overhauls as well, probably following the changes that they did balance-wise to Rival Wings, right? They took Rival Wings away, they've readjusted all sorts of values with Rival Wings before placing it back. Perhaps they'll have different values for different modes like Shatter and Siege and things like that on the crystals, maybe. Health changes, I don't know. But yeah, it's always a nice thing when they're addressing these things piece at a time. I think when it comes to PvP, the main focus was to try and overhaul the ranking system, give people things to do in a casual sort of stand where they can just queue and work towards something, which is serious PvP. And then there was also Crystalline Conflict, which was their new baby that they had to focus a lot of their time on. So I think now that they've got that in a situation where they, at least majoritively, I would imagine that they think that it's a success. I think it's a success personally. I think it's a great mode. They can start branching out and looking at the other PvP features and modes and trying to make them more fun and enjoyable or more balanced, right? As we've seen. But yeah, that was pretty much quite a lot of information, actually. Quite a nice little section. I'm, you know, not surprised that I missed this, but thank you, MKillerB. Link to your Reddit post obviously in the description. Go give it some upvotes or whatever people do on Reddit. But yes, very nice information, and I'm glad we covered it so I can remember this information in the future and refer back to the video. Much love, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy 6.2, more videos on the way, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.